getting back to me, my art. All I want to do is art. And the other thing is that I love stories. So like to me, art isn't everything. Your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You can feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So art and hustle to me is the art of living and art of it and everything.
I hope that you've cut that piece right there and make it your intro and your outro, because that was dope.
All of us, we all have the ability to find our own happy in our own lives, in our own space.
Yeah.
But it's never quite enough, and nothing is like giving and helping others. There's no feeling like that in the entire world.
Yeah.
When you change someone else's life, when you have the ability to give to them, and just the smiles and the relief, sometimes the tears of joy, right? Just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So when we have the ability to live our life and find happiness in our own life, and then share that with someone else or help someone else reach their happy point, just a beautiful space to occupy.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I remember when.
Yep.
I remember when I dropped the first one. That's what I just keep thinking about mine. Like, I remember when I did the first one, and I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I ask and what do I do? And then I was just like, the first one, it will always look different from the 100th.
Yeah.
Right? It'll grow, it'll evolve. But if we spend all of our time wondering, oh, is someone going to like it? Oh, is someone having unrealistic expectations for that thing?
Yeah.
And we'll always be in that same space, never moving, never growing, and never really fulfilling our purpose and our dreams.
Yeah. People get stuck on it, but you just have to try it and go. And to, like you just said, you said like, oh, the 100th one's not going to look like the first one. So I'm happy to say that I'm almost to my 100th one.
Are you really?
Yes.
What?
Crazy? Yeah, I'm almost.
That is crazy.
I'm almost to the 100th one. So
you have to do like a montage of like some of your best like snippets from what people said and like clip them all together.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely. I mean, things that happen in the darkness, it has to happen in the darkness so that we can be awed by the emergence of whatever it evolves into.
And look, you're on the second podcast.
Here I am.
We're gonna do more of these, and we're gonna see the light start coming out, and the epiphanies more come out.
Oh my God. It's just like when I walked into the room, I was like, Art and Hustle is in the house.
I love it. I love it. I love it when you came out to you're like, oh my God, like so happy to see you. I just watched your podcast and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And it just kind of put a battery in my back, and I was like, look at this woman.
I love it. I love
She's talking about her 100th episode, like, geez, having similar experiences. It really made me feel like I was, I'm in the right place.
Where I feel like they're trying to help me and give me space because I'm in that like space of being very vulnerable. Actually, I feel like I was
helping them.
Yeah. So it had that same kind of synchronicity of it. And I was talking about my story as well, and I didn't cry again.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was sitting there talking to her, really it clicked in my head, and I was like, listen, the fact that we're talking about all of this again and the fact that I'm not crying, that is humongous. Humongous. I was like, I am not crying and I can talk about this. And I'm actually helping you and talking to you about my journey and my story. So the fact that I'm so vulnerable about everything I'm going through, that now people feel like, now they can be like reaching out to me of like, then let's hang out, let's talk, whatever, So now I'm giving her space to be open and be vulnerable and to talk to me about things that she's going through.
That's it. You woke up one day and you were like, I'm going to take up space. I'm going to take up space. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what it means, but I'm going to take up this space. And the more you took up space, the more you've given other people permission to free themselves, to have open, honest conversations. And it goes back to like, people will look at this and they'll think, oh my gosh, Linda's so good. Linda has it all together. Linda, look at her editing. Look at how her videos look.
Yeah.
But they won't understand that that was not overnight.
Yeah. Welcome to my first ever podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm so honored to be the first one. I took a job that allowed me to stay home, and it was a home job, and I was selling motivational speakers.
Yes, I remember that.
I did that for 6 years.
Wow.
Don't do that. Don't go against what you know you love to do. I learned that, and I don't regret it, but I know that I can confidently tell artists if what speaks to you is to create and make stuff, don't give up on it for 1 second. Like,
so do you think you lost part of yourself in those 6 years?
100%, like 100%. I've been working my way back ever since then. I wanted to explore, and so now I can confidently say, like, it did happen for a reason, and I have gained some sureness. Is that a word? I don't know.
Like, sure, we're artists, we can make up any word we want.
So I'm 100% sure now that I need from my soul, you need art, you need to be creative, you need to be into fashion or whatever it is, right? It's part of your soul. I need it to live, I need it to breathe. And if I can't create what I enjoy, then everything else falls apart, because I can't be my best self. So
there's so many people that, how people say lost in translation?
Yes.
I think there are people who are lost in transformation.
Yes, everybody.
You know what I mean? Like, I think people get stuck, in the transformation process.
Yeah, because you're in shit.
Oh my God, it's so messy. And we just lose our crap, because it's almost like, this can't happen to me. This shouldn't be happening to me. Why me? Why me? Why me?
Yeah.
And then we start throwing tantrums inside of the transformation, right?
Yes.
Because we don't want it. And so this, it's about this divine chaos that I've always talk about.
Yes.
Right? And I just want to put, that's my term, copywritten it all.
I love it.
Divine chaos.
You know,
right?
one of my art shows was controlled chaos.
Really?
Yes. I did a series 1, 2, and 3 of controlled chaos art shows.
That is.
Well, we always have like synchronicity. So I had to stop you there for a second. I'm like, I love that, right? Because I did a version of it too, because I love the contradiction of things, like, like the beautiful oblivion, controlled chaos, like beautiful mess, like all of it.
Because it's real. God, I love this. It's really all about our perception of.
Like, to me, art is like communication, right? I feel like the root of it is communication, and who's like has to do art. Like, it can't not do art. I mean, I would say, as soon as you follow whatever passion you want to do. You just follow it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the world will kind of unravel before you. You know what I mean? Like, it'll unfurl before you. It'll show you the path. You just got to stay on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. Hey, Linda, keep doing this, man. This is awesome.
Yeah. And then, just to make it, to be clear, we went out for a whole week, not one day. But we didn't talk to each other the whole week. You know what I mean? Once you accepted the letter, we were both so shy, and we didn't really, we were so young, but we would walk together. And then I think, after like a few walks, you were like, let's just be friends. And we've been friends ever since, though.
Oh,
like, you were never mean to me.
Yeah.
You didn't dump me, like, you didn't scar me or anything like that. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. See, I love that you're clarifying this, because I do remember the note. So
it was a good week. It was 1 week because I remember everyone else, everyone got in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it became a whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why you didn't like it. That's why you got embarrassed, because the girls were all like, oh, and then the boys were like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was too much. It was like with actors and the, what do they call them?
Paparazzi.
It was too much.
We had too much paparazzi. It was too much pressure. I couldn't handle it.
When I used to travel all over the world and I was doing all of that good stuff, I would run into people like, no, we're on holiday now. And it's mandatory. Yeah, we're not allowed to keep working.
Yeah, right. Like, you're not allowed to text me about work. You're not allowed to talk to me about work. I think I saw that on TV, but I didn't know if that was real.
Man, unbelievable when I started to see these things in action in real life. And then I would look back at my experience here and like, these guys they're killing us.
Too much.
And it's that old rat race adage, right?
Yeah.
Even if you win that race, you're still a goddamn rat.
You still lose.
How is that good for you?
No, you still lose.
We must redefine how we engage this space, how we're going to operate in this space. And that's the whole idea of dismantling things and then only building back up the things that are honest and true to you in the world you live in, and now continue forward. Leave all the other stuff that you were given. All of
one woman show, like, I'm hosting it, I'm editing it, I'm
a lot of work,
promoting it, I'm social media, I'm kind of like all of it.
Yeah. That's why my wife last night, I said, listen, you need to subscribe too. I just subscribed. You got to subscribe. The algorithm. I told them the whole spiel.
Like, you gotta. Yeah. So let's remind everybody, whoever's watching this, if they can help us, click subscribe, like, share, comment, share with your friends, your families, because it really helps my algorithm.
I didn't know it was so formal, but I guess it was so formal.
It's not that formal. It's just, a nice little conversation about your hustle right now, your six juice. Tell us a little about how you got started.
Well, I just want to tell the audience to start with, me and Linda's been friends since kindergarten, so that's why her calling me my government is wild, but it's all right. I know it's kindergarten, so. And she bullied me. I'm just letting everybody know she bullied me.
I know. I was waiting for you to start telling that story.
So like my passion turned into my income.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. So yeah, I have employees, and I'm opening up my first flagship store, which is going to be our franchise model. Like there's no one, it's just a hustle. Like literally, art and hustle. Yep. I created something. I created my juices. That's my art, and now I'm hustling my brand. You see what I did there?
Exactly. This is why we're having a conversation with you. Your juice is your art.
That's awesome. That's the painting in the background.
Yeah.
That's a Linda Chung original.
That's a Linda Chung original. Yeah.
Mine too. It's a Linda Chung.
Oh my God! Really? Oh my God! Look! There I am. I'm
that's
coming
yours,
out.
Right?
Yep, that's mine.
Oh my God!
That's epic.
Look at that skirt too.
Yeah, I made all of it from scratch. Everything's made from scratch right here.
Oh, no, that's incredible.
Everything is made from scratch.
It looks like one of your paintings come to life,
right?
Right? Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. All of this is ironic. I do all of this still now with my paintings.
And you did all the detail work too. That also.
So I painted it, added glitter. I made the mask for her.
See, that's what put you over the edge. You did all that extra work.
Yeah, I know I won because I had to transform. So here's the thing, I was asking you to explain muslin, because this was made out of muslin.
Ah.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, well, let me tell you, Anthony, like when they made my garment, they printed my garment the wrong color. So they printed it basically like my hat, all greens and camos. But my theme was a golden Buddha.
Yeah.
So my fabric was green.
Oh, no.
So this was our, I think, spring break or some break we had, and they had to reprint it for me. But here's the problem. They ran out of velvet.
Oh, no. So they had to do muslin for you.
So they had no more velvet for me. So they had to print it in muslin. Muslin and muslin? Muslin. Yeah. Muslin. So they printed in muslin. And I'm looking at these people like, what do you want me to do with this muslin? Everyone has beautiful, soft, velvet that looks so luxurious in these
You got
garments, and I have muslin, and I'm looking at this like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this shit? And
leave it to Linda to work
you made
magic.
it look like gold.
So I had to fucking paint it, add glitters, add whatever, and I made it look more luxuriously than it did. So that's why I won, because I transformed this fucking piece of paper.
Yeah, like crap fabric.
It's literally crap fabric paper to look like this that's coming up right now.
Let's do it one more time.
And then I added batting. I added
it looked amazing, Linda.
So I had to make it look like velvet. So I had to I added batting to it. So you can't really tell, right? So Anthony, you didn't know.
Oh, it looked fantastic. No, I had no idea.
See, there we go. See, I learned something new today. You learned something new. So yeah, this is muslin.
That is
with batting.
That is sick.
With batting, and I wanted you to look at the kimono and not her. So that's why I made the black mask on her, because I wanted you only to see. I wanted you only to see the kimono.
And look, years later in your paintings doing similar work.
Yeah, that's kind of funny and ironic that I'm doing tons of like Buddhas and Zen.
That was like a showstopper, though. Honestly, your piece, it seriously took everything away. Like it was like everything is amazing, but that was like a showstopper.
Anthony, look at you.
Oh yeah, she was a tough broad.
She was so tough. There I am, my little ball gown.
Oh my god. Baby Linda.
Linda, you have this amazing gift and quality about you that absolutely nothing gets you down. And I think that you're showing your kids and showing everybody who knows you just that, like, no matter what's thrown at you, you figure it out and you make it work, and you just keep going, and you can be successful and do whatever you need to do, and you thrive. You absolutely thrive.
I like connecting with people, and I like helping people.
You do. You always have. You always have. And you just have that special touch where I'm telling you, it's like you make people whole sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. You have a light. You have a light inside you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's true. And you don't. The thing that's great about you is that you don't stop yourself from giving it. Mm-hmm. And you're that's awesome. And you can see it in your art.
I got there, it was very shocking, marbled floors all the way down, got all these art and all these rooms, and you were in one of the rooms, and he had his stuff there, and it looked very legit, and I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then it really just skyrocketed from there, to be quite honest. Like it just then it turned over to art hustle parties, and that was just insanity. Rock stars and celebrities were there, literally.
It was, right? I mean, that's where it all birthed at Gowanus for me, because like I was like, you know what?
Yeah, Gowanus,
Yeah, I had started doing all of my art, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to have a show. And you know what? He had a room available, and I was like, I think I want a whole room. I don't think I want just a wall. I think I'm ready just to do a whole room and just do my first solo show, and I'll just do it myself. So that was my first solo show that I had put together then.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's great. That was my end to the whole thing that we've been doing down in the city. That was my whole end too. The Gowanus thing, really, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And that opened up a ton of doors really for us, because we were able to, the things that we're doing now, it's like, if this didn't stop, oh boy, who knows where the heck we would have been, but just the things that we were doing, it was just, it was like a whirlwind, and and I've been all over the world. I consider this to be one of my favorite times.
Wow.
Hanging out with you.
So that was the first time I exhibited my own work in New York City.
Yeah. And that was my first time also. Like literally when we met was when I had just started focusing back onto my art, because I had gone through, kids and marriage, and then I was like, I lost myself. I'm like, I got to get back to my core, which was I need to do some art. So when I actually figured out and did like a large collection of it, I was like, where am I going to show? I'm not going to go in, like, I'm not going to show in like a stuffy, you know, gallery. Where am I going to show? So going through Instagram, Dylan, oh, let me contact Dylan there, right? So literally that space was like, I was like, wow, I think I'm going to just have my own solo show there, and that'll be my first thing. So that was the first time I started pushing my art. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you so much, because that was the pivotal start of me getting back to my art and my craft that I've loved so much and lost it, you know? So, hey guys, I just want to interrupt my own video here and let you know that if you can really help me out and like, subscribe, comment, because that really helps our algorithm and push to people that really needs to hear this. And they'll.
And that is, I gave the permission.
Yes.
You guys.
That is it.
That is it. Yeah, I was the one adult who would say, it's okay.
Yes, that is the perfect word that you just said. You gave us permission.
I gave you permission. I gave you permission to be yourselves,
yep.
whatever that was. They would, most of my students, not cut my class. What they would do is tell their friends about what was going on in my classes, and their friends would cut their classes to come to mine.
Really?
Yes, and it's funny. It's one of the great guilty secrets I can tell now. I've been retired 22 years.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Secrets.
Yeah, and I said to them, okay, look, this is totally wrong. It's totally unprofessional of me. But I feel your pain, especially when I knew the teacher whose class they were cutting.
Yeah.
I would kind of roll my eyes and moan.
Oh my God, that's so
you
funny.
Poor bastard, you, yeah.
Secrets of CI.
Yeah, so I said, well, look, I said, okay. Usually what would happen too, if my students knew I might be having certain kinds of discussions about a certain book, like let's say, you know, Madame Bovary or whatever, if they thought if they had enjoyed the first discussion or two, the first class or two on that book, they would say.
When I think back to that time in college for me, it was so pivotal for me gaining confidence as a woman.
Yes. Well, and I'm doing that now at 46, because I feel like I was always just going with the avatar. Like the avatar was like, be a good girl, get married, have kids, you know, have the good job. Like that was the avatar that I was trying to create and stick to. And now I'm like, no,
screw that avatar.
No, now that avatar is gone, and I'm trying to, you know, create this new avatar.
They say, screw that bitch.
Exactly.
She ain't even real. That avatar ain't even real.
I know. My girlfriend, psychologist friend, said that, you know, depression is needed because you need deep rest. Because your body is at a dis-ease. Your body is like basically saying, fuck you. Like, no, I don't want to be this avatar in this character that you've created.
That is deep.
Yeah. And I just kept playing. I was like, wow, that's freaking amazing. I'll send it to you. But he's like, your body is depressed because it's saying fuck you, because it doesn't want to be this avatar that you created, and it's tired.
That's the part that is.
And that's how I feel. Like I created that,
so dope.
You know, that avatar, that corporate woman, those character things, and those, you know, steps and levels that I had to, you know, accomplish. And eventually when that went away, and I'm like, what am I now? Like, what fulfills me? What is my?
Oh my God. Did you watch Peripheral? Did you get a chance to watch it?
No, I forgot.
Oh my gosh, Linda. Well, like speechless, like verklempt, right? I'm so, and then there's also this term prevailing, like I'm so proud of you.
Oh!
Okay, first of all, that was amazing. The pieces that you edit in with like all the work that I've done and we've done together, and we've done with Anthony and Tom, it was like, oh my God, this like montage of like, it was so mind-blowing to kind of get all together. And same thing with the end with the pictures from our friends at the Main Access Immigrant Network. That was really cool when Anthony came to Maine to visit. So but this, you know, it was so incredible. I feel honored to be part of Artandhustle. Like, I think
you're part of the Artandhustle family.
Well, you know, and remember we were in Brooklyn. I think it was your second Artandhustle show, and it was like that. That place was packed.
It was. And every show that I honestly, from day one where I curated my show was packed. So to me, like, I was super honored that I was able to pull it off, because like, to me, like, I've never curated an art show or planned like anything like that to that extent, but I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. Like, it was like back to back people were packing in there.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. The body painting, the different types of art, the mixed media, the paintings. Yeah, it was pretty fabulous. So, oh my gosh, Linda.
I just have to tell you something. I just listened to your podcast with Jordan.
Yeah.
Totally blew me out of the water. I didn't know so much about you that I learned from that. And let me tell you, the answers that you gave to the questions he asked are so similar, despite our huge differences. First of all, in age, I was cracking up when Jordan said, well, what do you see yourself at, at 56 or 66? And I went, oh shit, I'm still at 76. So yeah, so despite the age difference, the cultural difference, and the more different we are, the more similar we are.
Exactly.
And that's what was such a beautiful thing. I just finished it 2 seconds ago. I said, quick, I got to get on because Linda, we're going to do this. It was wonderful.
What else am I doing in this space? And how am I going to make money when I don't want to go back to that corporate world? You know, so it's like and then I fell into depression. And it was like the worst depression I've ever felt, because that desire to push myself went away. So I was sitting in that space of like, where I didn't have that need and I didn't have that desire. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Now I understand what mental health, where people go into dark depression.
Absolutely.
And it was like a new understanding for me, but I'm slowly coming out of that now. And I'm like, okay, I have to push myself. I got to go back into podcasting, because I love that community that I started to create. And I love the stories I hear from people. So I was like, I got to push myself. I'm just going to start making appointments with everybody and connecting with people to not feel alone, because most people always feel alone in their struggles.
Yes. I think, if I may be so bold as to pass judgment on you, I'm glad you're out of the corporate world.
Yeah.
I think you are doing more good with these podcasts and connecting people, you connecting with them, people connecting with each other, and your art is still always there. And that is something that you are so skilled and talented with, that may not have shined as it should have when you were in corporate.
Yeah.
And now Linda's beauty is surfacing, that unpacking, it's all coming out. And that's what I was talking about. I wrote a poem a couple of years ago. It was called I Am Not Invisible, because I started to feel that way. I started to feel like I was shrinking and disappearing and evaporating into nothing.
Wow.
And it was a depressive feeling.
Depressing. It's depressing, like the darkness that overtakes you.
Yeah. And I think that you with the podcast, me with the book, and the connections that have come from this newly written thing, now not only creates a new piece of me and who I am, but it's also a more peaceful part of me.
Yes.
And it's like, the movie Waiting to Exhale. I can exhale now because so much of this stuff is now out there.
Yeah.
Don't know it. Sometimes you don't know it. You're keeping yourself quiet for so long, you don't even know you're doing it anymore.
Yeah. And no, everybody around you don't realize that you are depressed either, because I think all of us probably really did a really great job being functional people in our life, and excelled, did great in school. We were chipper, we were happy, we were the happy Asians and happy, students, and we got amazing catching up with her, because I mean, with the way we were, if we were depressed and sad and all of this in high school, not awake and not aware of ourselves, you missed so much of that childhood and that aspect of yourself, because I don't remember a lot of things.
Me neither.
That's what
that's part of it. That's part of it. Like not having memories.
That's what me and Gary on the last podcast, we just realized that There's a lot of stuff that I don't remember. And he's like,
round out, let's let everybody know about our inspirational journal.
Yep.
So excited. It's a great holiday gift. So make sure you go grab one. The link will be at the bottom of the screen. And, you know, don't just get one for yourself, get one for a loved one, and start 2023 like making big dreams, big goals, or even heal, because we like to call them our healing and inspirational journals.
Yes.
So
doing is creating this
bridge,
tremendous bridge, a vehicle of like catching up with all these people, all these great things. And I was, you know, watching a bunch of these over the past couple of weeks, and I'm just like so proud of our group. You know, I was like, in all that we've accomplished, you know, and continue to accomplish, and to sharing this, and you're the pioneer that's putting this out there for all of us to listen to. Because I know Josh, and I know Rick here and there, and Gary, and Mr. Schiavo here and there, and all these different people you're putting on. Sunrise Scott, who I haven't seen since like God knows, and you're just getting deep into their experiences, adult life that we were never exposed to.
Yes.
And you know, you're hearing what they held on to, what they could have let go, and we have a lot more in common than I think we, you know, give ourselves credit for.
Yeah, that I'll be able to, you know, I think I should work on the book would be the first thing I would have to do.
I don't know. I was kind of gonna say that, but I figured let me just.
I feel like that has to be something that has to happen. The notable quotable book has to happen because that'll be more related to art and lessons and quotes. So I feel like those two things need to happen.
Yes, and we do need to start working on the notable quotables. That's a must.
Yeah.
But I think the book can be healing.
I think it will be.
The writing of it can be cathartic and healing for you.
Yeah, because that's what I've always done. I've always put my pain into art in whatever form that is, from, you know, poetry to paintings to whatever. And this book will be it. So I have to just delve into it. I just don't know where to start. So I haven't started. So it's just formulating in my head. But eventually I just need to get it down on paper or a canvas or something. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to heal myself.
Yeah. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please. I love your suggestions.
Just use your phone. So like, don't overthink the writing process, right?
Yeah.
I've written 2 books. Don't overthink it. One of the greatest inventions that we've had, that we've been blessed to have in our time, is cell phones and laptops.
Yeah.
Literally, you open your cell phone and you have a thought that you want to add to the book. You just voice record, you know, potential chapter, you know, healing myself.
Yeah.
Point number 1, and just no periods, no parentheses, no exclamation points. And before you know it, in a month, you've collected all of this content for your book.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I have little notes in my iPhone, and then I've written out memories and stories in my Google Docs. So I have that going. I have the notes going. And I might just have to, you know, print it all out and spread it all out in front of me. And really, that's probably the entire book right there. Like it's probably done. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say it's probably finished already.
I mean, really, the way we are, we probably think more that we need more, but we don't. So really, the book's already written. It's just in my computer, in my walls of my paintings, and in my phone. So it just has to all just get printed out, laid in front, and I just have to collage it together, really. So really, okay, fine, the book is done.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. Hello.
Right. I get it. The book is done. I just need to assemble it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that'll be the healing too.
That will be the healing. And that will be the freedom to my 40s also.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You say that, what's the meaning of life? Well, it's as an existentialist, as a Taoist Buddhist existentialist, I would say the meaning of life is whatever you decide to make it. In other words, what the existentialist says, you create your own goals, and if you are genuine and authentic in the pursuit of the goals that you have created and chosen,
Mhm.
and you're an authentic human being, and you'll be as happy as you can be before you die.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So that's fun. Who the fuck is this? I'm telling you, these fucking phones are killing me. They're killing me.
You have such a mouth of a sailor.
I do.
But that's okay. That's my mouth too. I try not to curse, but it comes out all the time.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You know what? I'm at this stage of my life where I let it all out. Okay.
Like you don't give a fuck, right?
Well, yeah. As my friend said, yeah, it's my colleague said to me about a few things I've said on my podcast.
Oh, Ken?
Yeah, and he goes, he said, you say things, and it's obviously you're one of those guys that doesn't give, that has no more fucks to give. Like,
I love that. You have no more fucks to give.
Now, screw you.
Yeah, I love it. No more fucks to give. I mean, I love that. I'm gonna have to put that on the shirt. No more fucks to give. Excited. So, what did you feel doing the last one and your first one, and the lessons that you've learned along the way?
Oh, that's good. That's good. I think, well, the number one lesson I learned is that it's always best just to jump in and don't overthink things.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best lesson, because that first one, you and I had talked and you were like, just do it, just do it, just do it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I remember texting the person, and then my analyzer mind started like, you don't have a date, you don't have a time, where are you going to do this? You don't have a microphone. And I just stopped myself and text the person and was like, are you available this day and this time? And the person was like, yes. I said, okay, good. You'll do this for me. And after that, like, just sticking with it. So the lesson I learned was sometimes it's just jumping in and not overthinking, because everything's not going to be perfect that first time out.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I love what you're doing. Like I said, I've been watching your podcast on and off, and I love the conversations. I love that you don't have a structured platform, and you could just kind of go with the flow. One of the things, like my biggest takeaway has been the, how do you say, the common and commonalities that we all from CI share.
Yes.
It blows my mind in some of the conversations you have. I'm like, oh, I felt the same way. Oh, I experienced that too. It's mind-boggling. It really is. It really is.
So happy, and I'm so happy for you to be here. And I really, really appreciate your support and watching them. I remember you jumping on, I think one of the lives I did with Gary. And you're like, yes, that's how we felt, and like the juxtaposition of how we felt having to be a certain way in school and then going home and being another way. So I thank you so much for that feedback and your support. CI Pride, it's always like that.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Cute conclusion. When you love what you do,
yeah,
I enjoyed myself. That's the part. It doesn't feel like
work.
Yes. It doesn't feel like, oh, I gotta, now the editing, which that was a whole different.
That's work. That is work. That's why I have like 8 podcasts that I have not edited. They are sitting there in a folder because I'm on my last, me, like I kind of crazy when I get into projects, you know what I mean? Like, and I go full force. So I did so many that I'm up to like 100. So like, I need my last, I'm up to like, the end of the year will be my, I'll be done with 100 episodes. Yeah. So I'm just collecting them. I think I'm just collecting my last 20, and then I'm going to bang them all out probably, and then get them all out by the end of the year. But I think I have like,
congratulations. That's dope.
Like 10 or 11 more, and then I'll be done with like 100.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Like that's, yeah.
It's a huge thing, from someone who never thought that I would be interviewing and talking to people this openly and being so bold. For me, editing them myself it gave me more of a connection to myself, to the content, to the people. And it was a huge learning experience, just learning the program, but learning the process and what I need to do, how I want to do it, how I deliver it, how I want to present it. So for me, it was really, I enjoyed the process of it and the creativity of it. And it was a full circle moment because when I was in high school, I remembered that I wanted to take a film class at high school. And I had to choose between either being co-editor of the yearbook or going to BOCES, taking a bus and going to do it. And the coordinator was like, why do you want to go to BOCES? Why do you want to do film? Like, that's for kids who have no direction. Who have no direction and who, need this like vocational thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I'll just do yearbook, But so it's like a full circle moment that I'm doing my own editing now, which is funny.
That's ridiculous. That is so absurd, the dumb crap they used to tell us when we were younger.
Yeah. And so it's like another form of creativity for me. And it's really helped me because if somebody else was to edit it for me, I don't think it would have been as impactful. So there was something in the process of it, just like the journey. It's something in the journey of it that really helped me keep going along the way and not get stuck of like, oh, I don't like that. So instead of you telling someone, I don't like that, well, you might just have to do it yourself.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. So,
right.
If you need help doing it yourself on iMovie or whatever, like, so now like Dave will look at it and be like, wow, I like what you did there. Like, you're gonna have to teach me that. And I was like, yeah, I've been doing YouTube University and it's free. So whatever I need to learn, I just like, how do you do this on YouTube? And you find everything you need to do on how to learn how to edit videos on YouTube.
Together, but you really inspired me. It was like, man, like even you, so how you're saying what you say, what we say here, supported you, what you said supported me. I got off and I told my husband, I was like, man, babe, she did it. And she had to talk herself through not caring what it looked like.
Yeah.
I got stuck.
Yeah. So that's why I think it was beautiful that you had a takeaway from our conversation, besides the fact that I wanted to bring you on because I connected with your energy and I wanted to see where you are because it was just some beauty in the peace and love that you were in that drew me to you. So I love that you actually got something away from it too, where you saw, wow, well, Linda just started her podcast and she was okay with it, fucking doing it in her bedroom and making it piece of shit, whatever it was, and it was during the pandemic. So I had videos I had done with the pandemic, but I was like, I don't care. I don't want to get stuck that it was an old video. This is where we were. This is how we felt. This was a date on it on the podcast. You'll see this is a date. It was pre-recorded during the pandemic. And you just let the people know. Like I had one that I posted recently where my friend interviewed me, but it was done in September and I just wrote pre-recorded. And this is where I was at this state. So that was the before. So my friend Lindsay interviewed me before. So that's where a state I was in where I was scared. I was sweating. I had a drink and I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared, but I'm just going to keep doing it. I cried. I left it in because that's how I was feeling at that moment. That's the state that I'm in. So I left all my crying scenes in all my videos. I left those moments in because that's where I was and I'm not going to hide it. I might not like, I don't like it because I don't think that all my videos were perfect, but that's where the crayon story comes in where I'm like, it's okay. This is where I was and this is the journey. And I feel like I love watching people's journeys and people's stories because then it makes me feel like, oh, they're human.
Yes.
Oh, they're not perfect. And just the fact of seeing them not perfect makes me feel like I can do it too.
Yeah. And then yeah, man. And that's for me, it's seeing people thrive, seeing people in what they perceive as an imperfection, living out their purpose. That's what inspires me so much. And it's probably why I had so much compassion for Will Smith. And compassion for Chris Rock too. But in a different way with Will Smith, like the pain of working through yourself is so messy and ugly. And we are all so ashamed of it. but I am inspired by people who I know are telling you this ish is messy.
Yeah.
But that messiness doesn't change what their purpose is.
Yeah.
And many of us assume in order for me to fulfill my purpose, everything has to be okay.
Yeah, and everything has to be in perfect alignment and before it presents it out to the world, which is where everyone gets stuck. And so I'm happy that you saw that, oh, you were okay with you just doing it in your bedroom and putting it out
that
there.
inspires me.
Right? Like, oh, all right. Yeah, like two of them, the first two were in my bedroom. And I mean, like if I followed other people's rules, I would have gotten stuck in my own creativity and not move forward because I would have gotten stuck in like, I have to make it perfect. And I'm not a perfect artist and I'm not a perfect academic and I've never been. So I'd rather just keep moving in my creativity instead of trying to figure it out perfectly. Because I'm not that type. I don't work like that. My brain doesn't work like that where I have to organize everything perfectly before I can take the next step. So creativity wise, I create in the mess. I need to see all my paints, my beads, everything in front of me. And when I see everything in front of me is when I can be able to grab the things I need and start making it. But I have to be in the mess.
Yeah.
You know?
I love, and those are the types of things I want to talk to people about.
Yeah.
Those are it is the inspiration that comes from embracing your authentic self.
Yeah.
When you asked me about, oh, when did you really just start to own it?
Yeah.
It was learning that I was so inspired. Like my family cracks up at me because I'll like cry at performances, right? So one I'm thinking about right now, I think it was maybe Justin Timberlake performed at like the Grammys, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And I literally sat there crying. My husband's like, why the hell are you crying?
Yeah, like what?
But I was telling him, I see God in people's purpose. So when people are fully in their gift, I feel like I can see it.
You can see them shine. You probably see the light, right?
I see, and I told my husband, I said, I admire people who are in their zone. And because we then know that they're in their zone because we feel it.
Yes. Yes.
We feel like you can't see, we saw Bruno Mars perform.
Yeah.
I probably cried like 5 times during that show. I was probably the only person. But when you see someone that is fully inside of their gift,
yeah.
And I don't mean it is freaking amazing. It is amazing.
Were you always did you always feel like this where you see it and you start crying, or is this like more of a later on thing?
No, I was always. I was always very sensitive to moments and feeling like the intangible in spaces.
Yeah.
So even now, my kids laugh at me like I'll see a commercial.
Yeah.
And I can like whatever the sentiment is of the commercial.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm able to say, wow, that's why I'm so compassionate and empathetic.
Yeah.
Like oh man. Listen, we just keep surprising each other. This is funny.
Right?
I keep every time I tell someone, I was like, I had a full circle life moment, I just never thought I would want to have any connection ever again to Central Islip. Never.
I know that. That's why I think it's funny that we're talking and we have this connection because I know that about you and I feel it.
Oh yeah.
I feel it. Yeah. I feel it when you're like, listen, I don't know about any of your cats in Central Islip, but I don't want nothing to do with you people. So I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't care. I'm gonna be over here.
I had them on one hand. I was like, okay, I'll mess with you. The rest of you mofos, I don't know.
Linda, no.
No, not, you know what it is? It wasn't even like, I think of there are people that time just passed and it just never, it never reconnected, not because of anything I didn't want, but it just time, space, relationship didn't allow for it.
Yeah.
But really, I think overall, I said this before, Central Islip, I think it was more the adults. It was more the adults
that was traumatizing for you.
Man, growing up in Long Island, period. You know, I think people forget some of the racial, they weren't quite undertones, but
yeah.
And my parents, I had a very different experience from some of my other friends. I grew up on the side of Central Islip that was like considered the white side by Islandia.
Yeah.
I didn't have I didn't go to the elementary school. I didn't have the same experiences, but I
didn't have that multicultural, embracing, love it. Like Trisha, I talked to some people who just had that beautiful experience. And so like Ricky Rodriguez, Trisha, Carrie. Remember Ricky?
I remember Trisha. I remember Ricky's name. I don't remember what he looks like, but I do remember.
I just finished his podcast last night, so I'll put it up.
Oh, okay. So when you put it, okay.
Yeah, like, but me and him had that same thing with me and you. I had that full circle moment with him. Because he was like, Linda, like we went to elementary school together. And I was like, really?
What elementary school did you guys go to?
Movie.
Oh my God, that name.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Maybe that was the mixing pot. You weren't, right?
I was not in the mixing pot.
You were not in the mixing pot.
I was the only little chocolate chip in, you know, myself and other of maybe 2 or 3 other Black families that came from Carlton Park. And, you know, we know how sometimes people perceived Carlton Park. My parents, they weren't about that life. They're like, y'all all chocolate chips. They don't get to treat y'all disrespectfully.
Yeah. You're all the same.
You're all the same. And it shouldn't be because, oh, well, you guys live on Gibbs. That's different.
No, you're Black. That's it. Like Trisha had the same thing where the people, when she went off to college, people were like, wow, you speak different. Like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I speak white, like you speak white, basically, you know? So she had that same similarity with you. And that's why I say I love these conversations, because people's things will start linking up of what people's experiences and, you know, life things.
Oh yeah. I remember growing up in
that I'll be able to, you know, I think I should work on the book would be the first thing I would have to do.
I don't know. I was kind of going to say that, but I figured let me just.
I feel like that has to be something that has to happen with new people.
Absolutely. And for me to even do this with you, you know, like literally my heart is not palpitating. I didn't feel like I needed to put anything on, you know, it's a new space for me.
Yes.
You know, and your energy is amazing, by the way, if I didn't say it before.
Thank you.
Totally comfortable. And, you know, when you don't have 1,001 things running in your head, you can be present, you know, and I'm tearing right now because I'm so happy, you know, I really am. It just makes me feel, it's not often where I feel comfortable in a space.
So then just keep doing that. Put up a mood board, whatever it is that your next dreams and goals or whatever it is, it's going to happen to you, Dean.
Yes.
I mean, I think you need to write a book of all your stories.
Oh my God. Can I tell you, that was one of the conversations that came out of the girl group that we had during the pandemic. And I had even spoken to Sunrise's publicist, and, you know, and what I notice about myself is that I'll start something, I'll initiate it. And it's just like one of those things that sit in the back of the bookcase type of thing. You know, so it's one of my things that I need to work on, to kind of seeing what I start to finish. Even if I don't like it, even if I don't feel that it's something that I want to do anymore, just finish it.
Yeah.
You know, just finish it. So
just finish it.
It's one of my things, putting my books.
I know. As you were talking, all I saw was like, I'm like Sunrise, where I'll talk to people and then something will click and I'm like, listen, you need to do that. And you know, like whatever, something special, whatever gifts that they have, I'll see it as well. And I'm like, so as you're speaking, I was like, you need to write your book. Just like you said, like after your conversation with Sunrise, you started writing things down, a timeline. So I think we need to continue that. And I like to give myself deadlines. So I gave myself a deadline with sunrise, and I love my birthdays. So my birthdays to me is, listen, I was born this day and there's a reason why I'm here. So I always like to, do something big for my birthday. So I gave myself a deadline with sunrise on the podcast that I would do my coffee table book, finish it, launch it, throw a party, Art and Hustle style, on my birthday, March 31st. So you need to mark that on your calendar.
Yay!
Friday, March 31st, I'm going to throw a big
2023?
2023. So I got 3 months. 3 months.
No impossibilities here. No impossibilities.
No, exactly. So whenever your birthday is, when's your birthday?
August 11th.
All right. So August 11th.
That's it. That's what we're doing.
That's what
we're doing, Linda.
That's what we're doing. August 11th.
Okay. I'm going to put it in.
Put it in August 11th.
August 11th. And so August 11th, then is supposed to be my launch for this book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I'm launching mine in 3 months. I haven't fully, it's in my walls. It's in my calendar of my phone. It's in my Google Docs. So it's funny. Like even when I did my art show, I literally launched my art show in 1 week.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, that's what I mean. Like I'm crazy. I mean, you're a Leo and a Tiger. So I know you can do this. I know you can do this.
I have all this fire in me, girl.
Yeah, this is why we're meeting. This is why we're meeting. And I'm going to, light a fire under your ass. And
yes, please. I need you, Linda. I do.
We're going to do this. We're going to do this every week.
Okay. So I've just put in the, on August 11th that this launch is going to happen. And yours is March 31st. Yes.
Mine's March 31st. And we're going to meet every Wednesday at 9.
Amen.
All right.
I'm here for it.
I love it.
Thank you, sis.
So much for joining me. I'm so excited. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Like, why am I so upset? Like, why do I feel abandoned or whatever it was? Mm-hmm. And I think then I just started typing. Like I was editing. So every time I do an edit of a podcast, I start typing out words that are permanent. So then I was like, fuck it. So then I went to my book, Linda's book notes, and started typing like, I'm mad at so-and-so. This is why I'm mad. So let's go deeper another layer. Why am I mad? Really, I'm mad that my mom chose my dad. And every person or like a spiritual person or a psychiatrist or whoever, like friends who are spiritual, they were like, you haven't even dug into why you're not mad at your mom. And I was like, and I always was like defending her of like, well, she's a victim like me. She's a victim too. So I couldn't ever be mad at her. Like I didn't feel that anger. I always felt like empathy and compassion for her. And it wasn't until I saw the Netflix movie Made, and then the Netflix special Killer Sally, where there are 2 lines in those things that one of them, she was trying to get her mother out of this abusive relationship and her own abusive relationship. But as she came to pick up her mom in Made, her mom decided, I'm going to stay. And so like her driving away, like I was hysterically crying. And then in Made, it was another one where there was domestic violence and it was a stepfather. And so the daughter says to the mother, why did you stay? Like, I always felt like you chose him over us. Yeah. And he's not even our father. So like for her to be like, you chose him. So that's where I correlated everything of like, every time I feel like I'm not chosen, I'm not enough, and that I'm not being protected. Like, it's the same stems from my mom. Like you would think it's my dad and all that issues, but no, it was my mom. And so like, I finally got upset with her for that, for whatever period of time. Yeah. But I don't think I stay in that hurt. I just understand like, it's really fucked up. Like you didn't choose us.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So those are the things I found out in the plane and I wrote down.
That is, oh man, I really, 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 really hope this book is getting closer and closer and closer because there's so many good little nuggets and parts that you have that are evolving and growing out of it. So
I know. I think you look at me, you're like, I see that, I see that, I see that.
I
It's like
do.
you see all the little points, right, coming out as I'm speaking.
I do. I do. I see talkbacks, I see conversations, similar to like what we went to with Lorraine, where there's a piece, a symbol, or a book that's generating a deeper, broader conversation.
Exactly. And exactly. And I think that us together will foster like another series of these things that you do and I do together that I think really will just blow up.
I agree.
It's just going to blow up because you're authentically yourself and I want to tell my story and just be me and tell it like how I would tell it and help people of just these stories and these conversations. I think help because it makes people, just like you said before, like it gives people permission to be vulnerable and be like, okay, well, if she did that and she's putting herself out there, then I will try to.
Yeah.
Woo! So that was a lot. That was 11, 12 minutes. Spewing that out. How are you?
So 30 minutes. I don't do longer than 30 minutes. I'll ask a lot of questions, but it's similar to ours. It'll be a back and forth, but I'm really listening for, just what your journey is, right? And share about whatever you want. At the end, I will, ask you to share how people can connect with you. And in the very beginning, I like you to introduce yourself because I think
I know. I was like, oh my God, let me watch some of her podcasts so I can
you just really, how do you want people to know you, right? How do you want to introduce yourself? And
I know. I was like thinking about it and I was writing it down, but then I was getting nervous and I'm like, oh my God, I can't think about this too much.
No, you can't, right? So the dope is divine, on point, prosperous, and evolving. So just the questions will kind of form around those 4 concepts. And just be your authentic self, right? Just
I can only be me and not the avatar anymore. So
like prosperity, right? To me, what's amazing your journey is how you went from like, the work that you were doing, you were like, screw it, I'm gonna just do this Airbnb. Like that, to me, that would free somebody who's just so trapped in what they believe prosperity looks like and has to look like.
I'm probably gonna get nervous and get stuck, so feel free to like throw things in that you know about me because I'm gonna be like, I don't know.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Tables are turned.
The tables are turned. Tables are turned. And then at the end, we can talk about our journals. Hey, what's up, good people? It's your girl, Doc Sunny, and this is another episode of A Dope Chick's Spiritual Journey. I have a great guest. Some of you may have seen her face before alongside my face recently because this is my girl from high school. Yes, I said it. Look at our faces. Look how young we look. Don't try to figure out when we graduated. But we went to high school together and we reconnected. And I'm so happy to have her because her journey is, I don't even think 30 minutes is really enough to talk about her amazing journey. But you know what I do. I like my guests to introduce themselves. So, Linda, tell the good people who you are.
I am Linda Chung. I am kind of a jack of all trades. I do a little bit of fashion design, graphic design. I'm a multimedia artist. I'm a single mom of 2 kids, divorced, and I'm, the founder and owner of Artandhustle. And I've curated some art shows. Now I've gone into the podcasting world where I want to talk about the art of living. And I feel like every story will help and every story will heal. And that's how me and Sunrise got connected, where I saw you on Facebook and I was like, I love your energy. If you would be so kind to join me on my podcast and this is how it's all evolved now. Now we do our weekly inspiring conversations. So I'm so happy to be here with you today.
I know, we're like cross-pollinating. Yay!
Yep. I mean, I love it because you have written your book and I was doing the podcast. And so since we connected, I was like, Sunrise, you got to do your podcast. I'm like, just do it. Just jump in, right?
Yes. So for those who don't know, yes, I had this idea and it was stewing, and I may have recorded one thing during the pandemic. And then when I connected with Linda, Linda was like, just do it. Those are her exact words. She was like, just do it. She said, stop thinking about it. Stop overthinking it. She said, just press record and just do it. And so that first episode that everyone loves with Tenora from season 1, that would have never happened had it not been for my girl, Linda. So I'm so glad that she is on my side of the podcast to share her journey, mainly because everyone knows I do this show because I want people to feel comfortable in their relationship with a higher power. For me, I call it God. Whoever and whomever you are, I want people to feel connected to something bigger. And so I love having these conversations with people with different journeys. So I will start with my first question, which I love to ask my guests, Linda. When you hear the word divinity or divine, what comes to mind for you?
I want to feel like it's hope and it's purpose and it's spirituality. So I've always said, like, I never really wanted to call it just one name because I feel like all religion should be all encompassing. So whatever you want to call it, whatever someone believes in, Buddhism or whatever, I feel like we're all trying to obtain the same thing, where we're all feeling, where we want to be in touch with something, a spirituality, a divine, your gut instinct, so your intuition, whatever it is. I feel like that's what divinity is. It's all of us. It's all encompassing. So I feel like it's a little bit of everything. And it's also like our purpose and of our authenticity. So if we can all be more authentic with our purpose and our intentions, and to be in a space of who we are, mind, body, and soul, if we can be connected, then we'll be able to be more authentic, sit here with you, and to be who we are. So then there's less conflict around in the world,
When were you, so I know your childhood. I know, a lot of your upbringing. Do you ever recall at an early age being connected to something higher than yourself? And if so, what was it?
I feel like when I was younger, I always had this like innate hope. I always knew that there was something better for me. So with my upbringing, like, it was very traumatic. I grew up in a very abusive, mentally, physically, sexually abusive home, where there was like, it's very militant. It was like a prison. And it happened, it was like majority of my childhood from age 5 to like sophomore in high school, like that constant abuse was always there. So, but I always knew that there was hope. So I just grasped onto that. So I just knew that there was something out there that was better for me. And there was definitely a different purpose for me, because I'm so thankful still to this day, where technically my dad tried to kill me at age like 5 years old, so there's a purpose for me to be here. And I feel like my purpose is now more to talk on these podcasts and to tell my story, so someone else who's listening to it and who knew me in high school would never have known that, oh my God, Linda went through such a traumatic childhood with all that abuse, and she came to school and just put a mask on and put this avatar on. Nobody would know that I was going through all of that stuff. So I want to be able to tell my story so other people would hear it and be like, well, if she can go through all of that, then I can go through whatever struggles I'm going through as well.
I always get chills when I hear something. I'm sure my listeners and viewers are like, their mouths are wide open, like, what did she say? Like, how, oh my God, I know how, but like, what was the journey for you from 5 to now where you are, to be able to open your mouth? Oh my God. And talk the way that you're talking now.
Well, that's perfect that we're saying this, because when we had just started talking about, I don't know when we started talking, but one of the main things that I wanted to do is to stop crying when I would talk about my story. So the fact that I can be on here with you and tell my story and not just burst into tears is a huge accomplishment for me. And also everybody needs to know I'm not a talker. I'm very shy. I'm very introverted, and I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to interview people. So the fact that I started a podcast to put myself on camera, to be exposed, and to do my art and put that on social media to be exposed is a huge thing, because you're putting your soul out there. Each piece of artwork that I do is like my soul and my spirits and my feelings, all of it on your canvas that I make and do and give to people. So, you know, you're putting yourself all out there. So for me to be here today to tell you my story, and eventually, you know, Sunrise is going to help me, you know, write my book too, you know,
Yes.
great, is a huge accomplishment, because I was so shy in high school and so shy to even talk about my story, because it's a really hard story to tell. And it's, you know, it's something that needs to be put out there just so I could have my healing and I could help heal somebody else, that somebody would hear it and be able to, you know, get through what they're going through. But from age 5 to now, like, you kind of, I had to disconnect my mind and my body. For me to get through my life, I had to disconnect my mind and my body. And I only woke up from that when my mom passed away in 2013.
So before you talk about your mom passing away, when you say you disconnected your mind from your body, like, what does that mean? Like,
I had to kill myself off.
Your feelings, your emotions, you mean?
Yeah, my feelings, my emotions. And yeah, you have to disconnect, because if you're going through physical, sexual abuse, you're literally killing yourself off, so you can like not
create something up here that's attached to what's going here.
You kind of, I think you kind of black out, you know, like if you're going through a traumatic, like life or death or accident or something like that, when you're going through something so traumatic where you almost die, like people don't remember that. So you literally just black out. So like my memory from childhood is so, I have bad memory. I've blocked out so much stuff that I literally, my mind to help save me, blocked out a lot of it.
So I cut you off, so I'm sorry, but I wanted, I'm sure listeners were like, what does she mean by that? So for all that time, you kind of disconnected your mind from your body, and then you said your mom passed away.
Yeah, so like I had to create this mask, you know, from childhood to high school and throughout my entire life. So even though my house was so militant in a prison, they still were forcing, like, it was an immigrant family, so everyone had to get straight A+. So if you didn't get straight A+, you weren't really accepted in your family. So you had to assimilate and, you know, be like
an academic, like a scholar.
Do all of that, and you have to assimilate to, you know, the American dream, and be, you know, in the community and all of that. So it was really difficult to be able to juggle all those different faces and facades from all of that. Like, so when you're having that avatar, you're just going through life. You're going through the motions. You're going through all the check boxes. I always felt like I had to go through all the check boxes of things I had to accomplish. I had to, you know, go to good school, graduate with great grades, get a great job, get married, have kids, have the, you know, the white picket fence with the house. You had to check mark all those things. And I was always like trying to get out of my house. So me getting out of my house was like, okay, I'm gonna get out of my house. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna find a husband. I'm gonna be happy. Like, I thought that every single thing that I would check off, that I would find my happiness. But then you realize after all of those things, you're still not happy. So when she passed away in 2013, I've always said this, where her death was my rebirth. You know, so she gave me the voice that she never had.
Oh,
because I was living her generational trauma.
Oh,
all of it.
That is
so
crazy.
Like my entire trip to China was a very spiritual journey in its own, because if I was never connected to my mind and body, I could never really sense those intuitions and those gut feelings very often to like tap into it. So as when she died, when I was in China, like, I think my eyes got open, or maybe she gave me her gifts, or her passing, like I felt it, right? So like I always, I in China, like when she passed away, that night when we were leaving her body, you know, and we walked by this like little like shed, and literally I told you before, like I felt like this entity, this person that came out felt like the devil to me. I was like, I don't like his energy. He just came out from this doorway, this really dark doorway, and we were walking down the street. I was like, I don't like his energy. And usually, like, I wasn't in touch with my spirituality then. So for me to feel that and say it, and I was
that
like,
had to like be real, almost like something like hitting you like a Mack truck.
Yeah, like I was like, I don't like his energy. It seems bad. It seems like the devil. And so he's speaking Chinese. So I only speak a little bit of Chinese. So I'm like listening to his energy, watching him, and I don't hear everything they're talking about, but I know, like, you can't tell people from another country that you're from the US, because then they're going to blackmail you. They're going to figure out how to steal your money, all this. So when my dad told him, we're from the US, I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good. So he ended up to be a funeral like director, curator, or whatever you want, agent, like a funeral agent.
Yeah.
So he was literally going to help us, you know, do our funeral with my mom and do all the things that we need to do. But I never had good feelings about this, right? And he started doing weird, shady things of like asking for someone's passport to hold on to it because he needed it for something. What? Yeah.
No.
And I was like, oh no, that's not good. But then they got their passport back. Fast forward, I went to the US to start doing the funeral arrangements in the US for my mom. When my brother and dad came out, I was like, so anything happened with that guy? And he's like, yeah, he blackmailed the family. He blackmailed the family, held my mom's ashes for ransom for money. So those feelings I had were so true. On point, like totally on point. So that's when that's when it started for me to like start listening to my gut, my intuition, and tapping into more of like spirituality, of like sitting in my body and connecting the two of my mind and body as well. Yeah.
So, oh my, I have so many questions. So, like, when you have that initial experience, were you, because you said, you just said it, like, I don't like that person's energy, but it was like the first time that really, that you really paid attention to it. How did you feel about it? Like, was it weird? Like, what was that? Was it, or was it instinctual for you just to jump in and be like, something's wrong with him. I don't like that.
It was very instinctual, where as soon as he walked out, I just felt it. And I was like, I don't like his energy. And I started to accept all of these little feelings I would get. Like other little things would happen in China. Like a funny thing is, like, because I'm the youngest of my family. So, and a woman in Asian traditional family, you're not really respected, and you're kind of looked down upon, of like, you know, you're like lower than male. So I was with my brother in China with my dad. So what was happening? Oh, we went to the hotel room, and my brother has no heat on, and we're in like winter in China, 2 days after Christmas. So I'm like, it's cold in China. So I looked at my brother, I'm like, why don't you have the heat on? And he's like, oh, they don't have heat. It's just an air conditioner. And I'm like, what? No, I don't believe you. So he went to take a shower, and I looked up there, and I'm like, let me just press some buttons, right? And I just pressed it, and the heat turned on. So like my instincts, intuition of like started clicking in more. And then there was another thing was happening where their car, like the battery kept going off. And I'm like, we can't be driving around with this battery just running off all the time, right? So I'm like, let's open the hood, let's figure it out. I'm like, well, that looks like a horn. How about we just disconnect that one? I'm like, all right. So like I started to get respect from them as I was there too, which was like a nice evolution of our relationship too. So the instincts, and then seeing that guy, and then my instincts being correct, like those started making me start believing in myself more. From her death. Because also when she passed away, like something just kept telling me, Linda, you need to get back to your art. Linda, you need to do big art. Like I just kept having this voice tell me, you need to do big art. You need to just, get back to the art. Being a mother, like you lose yourself. So I lost my artistic, outlet for such a long period of time. So when I got back to my art, I actually found my voice through my art first, because being an artist, I kind of can do a little bit of everything.
Right.
But it wasn't like mine. It wasn't like my voice. Certain artists have certain techniques, and I didn't find my technique yet. But when I decided to just do art for the sake of art, for my morning process, for my intuition, for my feelings and soul, like I just poured it out onto the canvas. Whatever I wanted to do, I just did it, and I didn't try to make it look like anything. I didn't try to be like anybody else. I was just trying to just be me and express myself, and the grieving and mourning process of her death.
Do you feel like you're channeling, or that divine divinity is working through you when you're doing your art? Like, does that happen for you?
I feel like when you're doing your purpose, time disappears. So when you're doing something that you love, like when you love it, like this podcast.
Yes. Yes.
When you're doing these podcasts, like it's just so fun and you love it. So time disappears. So like that's your purpose and your divinity and all of it. Yeah. And it just comes through you, because like you're not trying to purposely do anything. You're not forcing anything. It just flows. And so when I was doing my art and just doing it for me, I wasn't trying to please anybody anymore. I wasn't trying to like be like the perfect child, the good girl.
Get off to check boxes or anything.
No, I was just doing it for me. So when I did it for me, that was when I actually started my Instagram. I was like, should I be Linda L. Chung, or should I be another name under it? Because I always was like hiding behind, like in high school, a vice president, I would hide behind little things. Like I would always be the supporting cast. I never was the one in the front. So when I did my art, I was like, I think I'm just gonna have to put myself out there. I'm just gonna be me, Linda L. Chung. So that was the start of my voice, is through the art. And if you didn't like it, that's okay, because I did it for myself. So if you resonate with it, if you like it, great. But it's okay, because I did it for myself.
How or what would you tell anyone about the healing process from the trauma that you experienced? And how, spirituality, connection, following your intuition, your gut, your spirit, how all of that helped you in the healing process?
One of the main things, I think all of it is all encompassing, where you have to get to the point where you just got to speak your truth, and you have to like push yourself past those humps and those uncomfortableness, So like one of the most therapeutic things that I have gone through is COVID. Like COVID saved my life. Had COVID not happened, I would have never been able to reset myself, because I would always just keep checking those boxes and keep pushing myself forward. So I would have my 9-to-5 job, then I would have a side business that I would do on Etsy, then I would do another side project for somebody else, then I would have my 2 kids, and I was just running on 1,000 miles an hour. But I wasn't paying attention to like my health. I wasn't paying attention to being present. I was just trying to like bulldoze all of my career goals, So, COVID helped me stop myself, reset myself, and figure out like, what should I be doing? Like, do I keep going on a hamster wheel of all of these things and going after the money of corporate world? But corporate world doesn't give a shit about you. You're just a number to them. So I realized from that and that healing, letting that go, letting that money go, and then invest on myself. So I started like an Airbnb business, and that's given me the gift of time more to be able to ultimately, I started the podcast because my partner before was like, well, you met all these great people doing the Artandhustle, art shows and art, curated these. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. Like I originally wanted to do a Netflix documentary of all the people that I met and how I started Artandhustle. But obviously that's a daunting task of its own. So I'm like, okay, he's like, well, just do a podcast, you know? And I always thought that I would do it with him because, you know, me, like, I'm kind of like, oh, I could do it with somebody else. Like, I didn't want to be the front person. And he was like, no, like, this is your baby. You need to shine here and you should do it. So I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone to get on camera because it's really weird seeing yourself on camera. And it's really weird to hear your voice on camera too.
Yes, it is.
And I've always told people, like, this has become my therapy where I didn't start to like myself and fully embrace who I am till I sat on the couch, edited my video and put it on the smart TV and then watched it at like an out of body experience where I'm like, you're not going to like whatever first few that you do or the 10 that you do, but eventually I start to like what I say and I started to like who I was and the person that I was turning into. We're like, oh, I kind of like what I'm saying there. Oh, I'm not that bad, you know? So it's been a beautiful healing process.
How did the first time you telling your story, you hearing yourself say it, like, do you know what I mean? It's different like you're talking to someone and you're hearing it internally.
Yeah.
As opposed to now watching yourself and hearing it externally.
Yeah, it's really, really strange. It's really strange because I go back to a couple of my podcasts where my friends interviewed me and I'm literally like sweating to death. I'm so nervous. You can see me glistening. And I tell people exactly how I'm feeling. Like my first podcast was in my bedroom because that's where I was comfortable. And I was like, well, I'm not going to worry about the backdrop, the lights. It's going to look like whatever. I'm just going to jump in. And I had no idea. I had my script in front of me. You know, I'm stumbling through the words. But my girlfriend's like, well, let's just chat. We haven't talked in 10 years. Let's just talk, you know? And I was like, I don't know how this is going to sound. And when she listened to it afterwards, she's like, Linda, sounds great. I was like, oh my God, thank God. But it's really weird. But I mean, I really recommend everybody going on one of these podcasts and doing a few of them because you really start to see yourself because you put this avatar out there of who you are and you really don't see it because everybody else sees you. Everyone else thinks a certain way of you, but you might not appreciate yourself of all the things that you've done. Like I've done so much stuff, but to me, I was in survival mode. Yeah. So now I get to see myself now on, you know, on TV and camera. So
how do you know, one of the, for me, definitions of a dope chick, right, is the divinity part, but also this idea of prosperity. How do you know that you're like prospering in your process? Like what are the things you're looking for? Or and maybe you don't know, maybe you only know after the fact, but how do you know that you're prospering in your process, in your journey?
I feel like one of the things, like the feedback I get from people, you know, when I put these out there, the people are so receptive and so appreciative that I gave them space for them to tell me their story. And I respect it so much of like whatever story that they want to share and get out there. I think it's beautiful, you know, because every story that you tell me, somebody else might hear it and it'll help them. So the fact that it might help somebody else or it might inspire somebody else is what I think the prosperity of it. You know, the money hopefully eventually will come, but I feel like as long as we're helping and the purpose of it where it's doing something for good, I'm okay with that. And what I love also is like, even when we have our conversations all the time in any of our podcasts, there's always something that you help me with or I help you and we'll have an aha moment of like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Okay, good. I was going to do that. Or so as long as we're inspiring and helping, and that's the feedback I keep getting from people where they're really grateful that these are out there and we get, to have time to talk.
Yeah. Part of your, you started off by saying that like you always felt like a connection in terms of hope, right? This divinity for you meant hope. I guess I'm curious as to, with that concept of hope, right? And where do your relationships with family that either were experienced or, engaged or participated in some of that trauma from your childhood, where does that now fit in the whole aspect of your life? Like this podcast, everything that you're doing, where do they fit, or how do they fit, even if they even fit?
I'm not really sure, because it's tough, because if I'm going to speak my truth, not everybody wants it out there. Because, growing up, in our household, everything's like, swept under the rug.
Yep.
Everything's like, be quiet,
Hush,
be a
hush.
good girl, hush
Don't put your family business out there. That was popular in my home.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. They would say the same thing in my house. Don't put your business out there, because you never know what can happen. And so I don't know. I'm not really sure. When it does go out there, like, it's going to be a shocker for a lot of people. And I had to be comfortable in my own skin to be like, well, this is my truth. I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable, but I'm trying to live an authentic life these days.
Yes.
I'm trying to sit in my truth, and as long as I'm not hurting anybody, and this is my truth, and that's how it has to be.
So every journey is like an evolution, right? We start from one place. I like to say we all start like the caterpillar, and then we have chrysalis moments, and then we emerge these butterflies, and we'll cycle through that process multiple times. When you look at how far you've come from that 5-year-old that was connected to hope, but her life around her didn't feel like it reflected that to who you are now. What's next for you? Like, where's the process? Where does the journey continue to go? How are you evolving even more, as if what you've already done wasn't amazing?
Well, I think we both know where we're going to go next is my book, my coffee table book.
Yes.
That
I'm glad you're saying it and not me.
So I'm excited. I'm going to do my coffee table book, which will be possibly a series of them, of my life and my journey and the stories that I have. And it's going to be like art, quotes, collaging, a little bit of everything, because that's how my life has been. I had to like put all the pieces back together of me. So it's going to be the book, and the book will hopefully inspire other people to, follow their dreams, be authentic, take action, and be a bull, right? Don't be a cow, because we had that bull and cow story in one of our podcasts.
Yes.
And I love it. I want to thank you also, because when I had you on the podcast, things started lining up, because like I was doing a few of them, but I'm still nervous and I'm not really sure about how I'm speaking. But when we chatted on our podcast, I don't know, it all just lined up and flowed together. And I was like, I'm really not sure how I'm doing. And you're like, Linda, it sounds good to me. Like, it's all lining up together, and things that I would say became like, probably one of my quotes that I always say, like in the podcast later on. So I want to thank you as well for inspiring me to connecting all the dots together, and that we can help each other, and that you started your podcast.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful you started yours, because now you're giving space and, time to all of these people to tell their stories.
Yeah. And that's all I want. I want people to hear another woman's journey, right? A dope chick, hear her journey, right? You don't know what anyone's journey is. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's what removes the judgment about what divinity means to you, and how what I believe is God has like surrounded around you on your journey, right? That, and to me, that's why I do what I do, to bring people closer together, and to help people understand we're not that far apart, but everything doesn't have to be so mystical and, above at this theological level that no one can understand. But it's everyday women.
Everyday women, and you make it non-judgmental, you make it obtainable, and you make it like friendly for everyone to be able to talk about it, and feel comfortable to be in their own skin. So I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I want people to continue to listen, like how you said, you walked out the hospital and you saw that man, and that thing just, I believe we all have that gift.
Yes.
We're just all not listening.
Yeah, I think we all do. Even like you had it all when you were a kid. It's just that as you start growing up, it starts getting suppressed and getting suppressed. And I've said this a few times now, where I've walked past people where like, oh, I don't like their energy. I'm like, something's not right. Something's not right. Oh wait, one last story. I think so before my mom passed away, she came over here from Florida and she moved here and her skin was like really dark, right? I'm like, what? I was like, Mom, this is not like Florida tan dark. Like your skin, something's wrong with your skin. I was like, what's wrong with you? You don't look right. So that was like one of the other first ones of instinctually I was feeling some energy, right? And then that's when she went to China, visit her dad who was I think he had diabetes and they were going to amputate his toe. And so she went to China being sick on her own and then had liver failure and was like dying in China, right? And so we got to, so 2 days, like she was about to pass away. We got to China 2 days after Christmas and then she died 2 days after that. So thank God we got to China, we got to see her. But the skin thing. So when I came back from China, I also saw like a relative walking down the street and I was like, this energy in his skin doesn't look right. Something's not right. And it looked like death, you know, now I kind of think like that looks like death to me. Like something's not right. Your energy is off. Your skin is weird. And he died like maybe a month later.
Wow.
You know, so like it started to I guess like when all the filters are gone, then you start connecting with your body and then you start to feel things more. And that's where I am now, where I'm loving the space that I'm in, where I can connect my mind and body and trust those instincts and gut feelings more now. So trust those gut instincts. Yes. They're usually always right. They're like 99% right.
They are. They are. Even if we don't know it. And that's what I tell people. Sometimes when you trust yourself, you may not know the outcome. Sometimes you might, but sometimes you might not. Either way, you still trust.
Yeah.
Either way, you still trust.
Just trust.
Just trust. Thank you so much. This was a beautiful conversation. I know for a fact that there are going to be people that hear this and have hope. And that's what I'm going to call this episode.
Hope.
This one is hope.
It is hope. Yeah. And that's one of the things that you had said to me, I think in one of my earlier podcasts, when I was speaking, you're like, sounds like hope. And I was like, that's exactly it. Because that's the one thing I always had as a kid, hope.
It was hope. Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. How can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Art and Hustle, but not with the whatever you call it, just Art and Hustle, spell it out. And then Linda L. Chung, CHEUNG. And I'm on all social medias and YouTube, Art and Hustle. Everything's Art and Hustle.
Yeah. And everybody, you can get our new collab journal. Yay. Yeah. It's a journal that embraces words, which I love, and phrases
words and art.
Words and art. And the front of every journal are original pieces by Linda Chung. Like, when I'm telling you they're beautiful, grab one for yourself, grab one for a loved one, start off 2023 like in that space of like, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to make big goals, I'm ready to think of a master plan. That's one of our most popular journals, right? Thinking of a master plan.
Doubt your doubts.
Doubt your doubts, right? But grab a journal. You can check the link in my bio and at the bottom of this, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and come back again.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so appreciative. So
thank you. All right, good people, you know what I say, I love you like cooked food, and I'll see you next time. Deuces, good people. Bye.
like finally getting back to me, you know, my art. All I want to do is art. And the other thing is that I love stories. So like to me, art is in everything. You your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You know, you could feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So Art and Hustle to me is the art of living and art of it and everything.
I hope that you've cut that piece right there and make it your intro and your outro, because that was dope.
Gallery of Conversations, and I'm happy to have my partner Dave Harper here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for all of you who know and don't know, me and Dave had started Art and Hustle back in, what year did we start it? 2000?
I think it was 2017 or 2018, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.